All right, so I was sitting at home last night editing, and Seth gives me a ring and says, hey, I need to borrow the van. I found something cool, and we have to have it. I haven't seen it yet, but you say it's pretty amazing?
I would say you're not gonna believe it, actually. It's beyond amazing.
Beyond amazing. So, okay, let's check it out.
You ready?
I don't know, like you got any hints or something? Like, it's beyond amazing?
It's two-wheel variety.
That was last on my list of guesses there. Oh my gosh. A VTR250.
It's a VTR, dude.
We have had these on our list for a little while, and it's the best color combination.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
The black and blue. It's got the pink going on.
Oh. So we got a fairing.
Yeah, the rest of them are up front.
Now we have a VTR sitting in your shed as more of a parts bike, but it was like the next year later, I guess it had the non-inboard disc. Oh, it does. Okay, there's a seat.
Yeah. I mean, pretty much all of it's there besides one of the fairings.
I mean, it's dusty. Wait. Okay.
Yeah, you see it in it now?
11 miles?
11 miles.
How?
Check that out. 11-mile VTR, dude.
11 miles. But like how?
Well,
that's gotta be a story.
There is a story, and it's a pretty fascinating one if you ask me. Well, there was an automotive training class, kind of like a vocational school, you know, and they decided that they wanted to tinker on some motorcycles. So they bought...
It's a school bike.
Yeah, it's a school bike. It was used for learning how these motorcycles work and the mechanics of it and that kind of thing. So this school bought 3 of these brand new off the showroom back in the 80s. And this was one of those 3. And according to the guy that I got it from, this thing has sat in climate control storage for the past 30 years in a hangar.
What?
Which is why it looks as amazing as it does and only has 11 miles.
I can see under the dust and it looks very solid. And like one of the tells that I'm seeing is the axle is fully forward into the adjuster. So it's like the chain doesn't even have stretch.
Yeah, like it's never been ridden.
It's obviously original tires and stuff like that. That is insane. Oh my gosh, can we play with this thing immediately?
I mean, I think that's kind of mandatory, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know what's even better?
What?
Supposedly it runs.
We don't get this lucky.
No, never.
Runs? Okay.
It runs. And the brakes work.
Dude, the best color combo. This is sick. Oh, you got more pieces up here.
Yeah, I think it's just missing one of the cows.
Dude. Holy crap.
Yeah.
Beyond amazing, you were correct.
I think that's a fair judgment.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Let's get it out of here.
I mean, yeah, what are we waiting for?
You know, without the covers on, it looks kind of like a mini, like K100 or something.
Isn't that adorable?
We just threw a screwdriver in here. Does power up. It is a newer battery. I would say try to crank it. The owner said he had it running, right?
Yeah.
Ah.
Needs a little more juice.
Okay. We have jump packs.
We have the technology.
You know what you're doing?
Not a clue. Totally legit Honda key. Horn worked.
Cool. This is the quiet little fella.
Just a little guy.
Choke is down. Then,
Is there fuel that got?
yeah, it's on this side. Which is, it's this little square drive. Looks like a new petcock, but again, maybe everything else on the bike is new. Yeah, it kind of doesn't sound like it has fuel.
Yeah.
You got to run at it there.
Oh yeah.
A little faster than expected. She's so light.
Cool. I'm excited.
Okay, well, we have the bike on the table, and Seth and I have been kind of taking a look at this thing over the last couple days and just kind of figuring out what it might need. So we're already getting some stuff on order, but I want to kind of take you guys over some of the things we're seeing here and then the general game plan for this bike, because this is kind of unique. It's a special circumstance here. It's got 11 miles on it, which is a problem. Now the bike is just very, very clean. You can see, I mean, there's dust and grime and stuff, but it's just immaculate underneath that, which is very, very cool. You know, and from sitting, of course, it's got some corrosion on like the cooling system. And then there's a few things missing because, you know, it was a school bike. And so they've taken little bits off of it. You know, it's missing some items. And, you know, like the valve covers, you can see it's a little damp and like grimy back there. So yeah, the valve covers have been leaking just because this thing has just sat all of its life. So what are some things you're seeing here?
When we got it initially, it was missing a lot of hardware. So like just small bits and pieces like the bolts for the rear cowl, half of those were missing. The dash was just kind of sitting. There
These
was
grommets,
a grommet missing.
things here. Yeah, there's a lot of random hardware on this thing. Like really like VTR250 specific hardware.
Like you put the part number in and nothing else will come up and they're impossible to find.
Yeah.
So,
how much is the washer for this rear tank mount?
yeah, just the washer, not a specific weird design washer, mind you. Just this washer with its dimensions is like $40.
Yeah, so there are some things on here that are actually pretty affordable. So Seth's been hunting the internet and you've found a lot of stuff, which has been cool. Now, a lot of it is like last one left. So sorry guys, but we went ahead and bought it. But yeah, the plan with this thing is to just restore it. We're gonna make it as perfect as we can. And we're gonna have to, Seth's my accountability buddy, and we're gonna have to not ride this thing, you know, just around the block to make sure it runs right. You know, we might double the mileage on it. It might go up to 22.
Oh boy, that's gonna decrease the value by like half.
No, it will not. Do not listen to him, okay? But this is gonna be the problem that we have, is that who would not want to go rip around on this thing and just have a blast? So that's gonna be a challenge. This is 932. This is within the first 1,000 made.
That's crazy. Wait, this was the first year for it too.
Yeah, so within the first 1,000 of the first year.
That's cool.
Now, of course, on the tank, it's going to be hard to see. I mean, there's some scuffs. and there's a couple scratches, mind you. I mean, this thing, you know, people brush up against it. It was meant to be a learning tool. So, you know, we have to expect that there were some novice mechanics, you know, wrenching on this thing. I don't know what kind of stuff they did back in these school programs, but regardless, I'm super excited to have this thing. And, you know, you gotta start somewhere and learn on something. Can you imagine, you know, like Honda was giving out a bunch of bikes. They gave out these, but then they also gave out CBXs. Can you imagine trying to get an understanding of how to work on motorcycles with a damn CBX?
That's starting out pretty bold.
Yeah, that would turn people away, I think. But I mean, if you had more CBXs, I would find a home for them. So keep that in mind. I would like to learn. Just putting that out there. Now, one of the really cool features of this bike, and I think just iconic with the style that they did, was the inboard brake setup. So you can see the caliper looks like it's in a traditional position, but your pistons are out here versus in here. So this actually has a rotor that moves all the way around the wheel, almost like a Buell. I'll put up a picture now, but it clamps on the outside. I'm not sure exactly, you know, why they chose to do that. Maybe it's more venting, maybe it's more clamping power. You know, the Buells, they had them all around the outside of the rim, and they had a 6-piston caliper, and I can tell you, those worked really well. You know, I had that Cyclone for a little bit, but this was just a really cool design feature of that bike. Now, way up yonder, I got that white wheel on the end. That's for another VTR250, but that's a non-inboard brake, and so therefore it's not as cool. Speaking of other VTR250, let's go show them the one in back.
Oh yeah.
Now Seth was pretty happy to get this thing out of his shed. So this came from Archway. I've shown this in a video before, just a quick glimpse of it, but this was one of the bikes that came from the junkyard. We just happened to grab a VTR250 there, and since then we've been wanting to do one. So kind of take us around this this fine chariot here.
Well, it's more of a chariot now than it was, because previously it didn't have a front end on it.
Yeah.
So that was fun.
You'll notice this is not a stock front end either. This is for a CBR 600 F3, which I had laying around, which was going to be ultimately for that CB750. But we'll get to that within the next 10 years.
Maybe. But yeah, this was, I don't know if we have any footage of it sitting in Archway, do we?
I will scour the archives, but I might have a little clip of it like in the background.
Yeah, it was just kind of slumped on the floor, just tucked away against all the other bikes that were in that building. And lo and behold, it was a VTR 250, and we decided that we really wanted that.
Yeah.
So we went back and got
you
it.
know, even had like some fairings with it and stuff, and the seat.
Yeah. After scouring through the rest of the warehouse, we found a few parts that went to it as well, including the matching bodywork, I believe.
Yeah, and so this one's a 1990 model, so it did not have the inboard front brake rotor, so that was, you know, they just weren't as cool in my mind. And they kept the VTR going for a number of years, and they changed the frame, and it ended up looking kind of like a mini Monster to me, which was really cool.
They are neat bikes.
And then they eventually went to fuel injection, which is going to be crucial to this bike.
For reasons you will understand at some point later.
At some point. This is an eventual build. There's no schedule on it, but we have big ideas. So yeah, it got pretty wadded up. The whole rear subframe is really tweaked, but it's had a number of grommets and bolts and things like that. I mean, probably $60, $70 worth of parts on here that we didn't have to order, which was cool. And also in the sight glass, the oil is really clear and the engine is not seized, so it rolls over really nice. So for now, we're gonna go ahead and pull the tank off this thing, and we're gonna dig a little bit deeper before we actually start getting to work on it. So the 6 screws that were holding the airbox lid down were incorrect. And then we can tell that these 4 holding the airbox down to the, like the plenum or whatever, are incorrect as well. And then there's 2 more in here that are incorrect. So we're gonna keep working on our list of hardware here that we need to get.
Ever growing.
Yeah, I mean, and this is the stuff that, you know, you kind of expect. But we're definitely being very thorough on this, and we're not putting anything on here that's not like NOS Honda. So that's another reason it's gonna be a little bit harder to find some parts, and why there are only like, you know, 1 or 2 left. So we're just gonna do it right. It's a really cool aluminum plenum. So these 4 screws, there's 2 over here. Those are definitely incorrect. Cute little trumpets. There we go. They don't look damaged, which is good. Can definitely see evidence of varnished fuel in here, which you would expect. That was a little stuck. So right here, you can see we have like a socket head, and it's like a cap head. So we have a mixed match of hardware on the diaphragm covers. So I can imagine, you know, being at a school that they would rip this thing apart and be like, here are what carburetors are, you know. Mm-hmm. Good demo for that. So this would be an area of focus for an education type thing. Now, if they've been off a million times, can't really tell.
Well, I can tell the air cutoff cover has definitely been off with probably not the correct screwdriver.
Yeah. I can't imagine many tech schools in the 80s had like JIS screwdrivers.
Probably not. Yeah, that one too.
But we'll make it right. We got those carb kits, and we'll work at it. Look at this thing. Holy crap.
It's a new motorcycle.
I mean, it literally kind of is. So the inner fender here is just immaculate. It's so crazy to see these things. So we still put a little coating on here, like, you know, the plastic's gonna start absorbing, you know, a little bit of like back to black and stuff like that. But the engine, whoo. So we haven't really got to work on this yet. We're gonna actually end up replacing all of the O-rings and stuff like that, and probably the water pump mechanical seal, and you know, things are just gonna leak, and we already have those parts on order. But it is looking very nice. So what are your thoughts, Mr. Comfortably Numb?
My fingers hurt.
What's that? My fingers hurt.
Oh. Yeah, I'm definitely putting in a clip that you're not even gonna be aware of because you don't watch movies.
Yeah, I think it's turning out pretty good. Just lots of scrubbing and, you know, make it look a little better.
Yeah. But like I said, parts have been on order. We actually got some stuff today. So the carb rebuild kits came in. We are still waiting on like a whole bunch of stuff like grommets and, you know, bolts and random things like valve cover gaskets. So try to knock that out all at once. And this thing is looking sick. The color of the yellow zinc really pops. Also, it has a very minty factory toolkit in it, which is sick. So of course, we are going to be missing pieces for this, and that is where you guys come in. So we need your help finding a certain piece of the bodywork on this thing. Now, of course, we have the cowl on here. You saw that we have the lower chin guard or chin spoiler, and of course we have the two front fairings, but we are missing this piece for the left side. Now, we understand that this is gonna be a hard color to find. So, I don't know, if you have one that's in good shape, please hit me up. If you have one, maybe I guess that would fit, that's white. Elsie's coming. You know, I guess we could always, you know, if we had to, we could always paint it. So, the one we have on this side is in good shape. Our fairings are in good shape. You know, we do have a little scratch on that one, but you know what? That's okay. But yes, we are missing that piece, which is kind of strange. So, help us.
Please send help.
Please send help.
Some kid probably stepped on it back in 1989.
Let's hope not. But yeah, we have the one that goes here, just not the left side of the bike. And we have to have it. It completes the look. One more part. So the parts bike and this bike both came with seats, but this is the darker blue. So you notice the lighter blue of the tank. There was a much brighter vinyl offered on these things. So again, I know it's gonna be rare, but if you have the brighter version of the seat, we're definitely interested in that. So now that I'm thinking about it, if this had this seat on it and they had two other bikes, they probably had a white one.
That'd be cool.
And maybe that white one has the seat we need on it. We're still trying to track down potentially the other two. That would be cool. Okay, just made a mistake. I went to pull this cover off so we could rotate the engine, and it's running fuel and oil down, so it's a little over full, but I will do this just, you know, for the gram. Yeah. I just cleaned that. Oh, sorry. Well, it's only focused to this area.
Staring into the camera or looking away from the camera.
Don't shrug your shoulders either.
Or shrugging.
No, shrugging, pockets, looking away from the camera, looking at the camera.
Or breathing.
Those eyes cannot move.
No.
Or shift.
Okay,
So
I'll just stare into their souls.
is this awkward yet? So anyway, VTR250, we are both very, very excited for this project. But again, the problem is also the cool part of this bike, having 11 miles. We can't freaking ride it. So yeah, the ultimate goal I think for this thing, from what we've decided, is to try to get it to Barber this year and, I don't know, sell it there, or maybe the museum wants it. I don't know. What would you like to do with it though?
Well, there's an obvious answer to what I would like to do with it.
Well, that's true. That's true.
But the answer to what we can do with it is probably just sell it and preserve history.
We have to be responsible adults.
Which I despise saying based on literally everything else we do.
I know. I mean, and we're always talking about like riding stuff and actually making it ride, not just letting it go to waste. So this one kind of goes against what we normally do, but it would be a shame to just kind of mile it up. It's potentially the lowest mileage bike in the world. So kind of need to keep it that way. But we're gonna update this bike as we get some more work done on it. So we're gonna go ahead and rebuild the carbs. We're gonna start replacing some O-rings and seals and things like that. But what are some other projects that these guys are gonna have to look forward to outside of this bike?
I mean, we do have some exciting developments regarding the Z. We have wheels now.
We have wheels.
Those are cool.
So we just got back from lacing these things up. So that is gonna be an upcoming video along with all of the other stuff going on with that. And then I think tomorrow we're gonna work on your 1100 a little bit.
Oh boy.
So that'll be cool. Still need to get to this bike. You guys will see it, don't worry. Oh, we've also got a GSXR 750 in here that's all torn down, and so that'll be an upcoming video.
Genesis, I guess.
And well, there's not gonna be, we have an FZR 1000 back there too. That's not gonna be a video. We just need to knock that one out.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of stuff to show you guys, but yeah, we're not gonna let the 250 distract us too much. We have other work that needs to get done. So anyway, that's what we're gonna be doing. Let me know in the comments if you guys had any experience with one of these VTR250s, and then also if you have the parts that we're after. So again, hope you guys like this video, and I hope to see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.